considering her disease. And Hanna is having a background in nutrition, but she's much more. She's a passionate speaker about how to bring change in the healthcare system. And what I like much about Hanna is that she loves topics that are off the beaten track. She loves to get out of the box and think about different way to address the patient perspective. Hanna, you are from Sweden, but you live in Switzerland. You are exactly on time, you told me. So I think I'm 1 minute before time. So is it okay for you as a half Swiss? Please come forward. The floor is yours, Hanna.
Yeah, I think so. I'm short, but should be all right. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let me please iterate what an honor this is, what a great honor and pleasure to stand up here in front of you all today, whether at home or in this beautiful event location. I would like to start by thanking the whole Value-Based Healthcare Center Europe team, with Fred, you're a top act to follow, Steve and Diana and Mirte somewhere around here. Dankjewel, and thank you so much for having me. It's truly humbling to stand before you today, not just as a part of this fantastic prize ceremony, but also as a living testament of the transformational power of value-based healthcare. Because when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes 39 years ago, when I was only 2 years old, despite my current age of only 25 clearly, things were very, very, very different. The available management tools and care tools were primitive, yet very high tech for their time. And the same thing goes for the medication. Insulin was rigid, it was slow acting, left no space for spontaneity. And solutions like the previous prize winner, several times even, Diabetes, was only a fragment of our imagination, if even that at that point. My doctor was very judgmental at the time, and she wanted my parents to tell her exactly what we did wrong as a family on Thursday 3 weeks ago at 5 p.m. sharp, because she saw an out-of-range blood sugar in my parents' beautifully maintained, handwritten little charts. And this is still a common practice today, unfortunately. Imagine that little girl and her family being very intimidated by this horrible person. Hope and helpless, and not knowing any better. And clearly they were lacking support, and they really, even my own biased opinion, deserved better. My journey, like many of yours, has been one of trials and triumphs, moments of despair, and moments of hope. As a patient navigating the healthcare systems and the complexities of illness across 5 countries and countless healthcare professionals, I've been mansplained to about my own care by many. I've been misunderstood, I've been sidelined, and spoken about rather than to. Decisions have been made way above my head and without asking me, and I've been told outright lies about the care of my own condition. Although I should really have known better, I decided to believe them in that moment. Reimbursements have been denied. Treatment options have not even been mentioned because they knew better. I think you can really sense the pattern here in this story. Yet, embedded within those challenges lies a beacon of light, a guiding principle that has really shaped my experience, and especially in later years, and that is, of course, value-based healthcare. One of the turning points in my career as a lifelong patient was to start taking a more active role in my own care. It was really about investing the time, the energy, and effort, or blood, sweat, and tears when we talk about diabetes, to get to a point where I see myself as the head of the proverbial round table of my medical dream team. This is where I've collected and curated healthcare professionals that help me realize the health goals that I set in co-creation with them. This is a big roundtable because of the complexity of the disease. But yes, professors have been fired from this roundtable, especially if they weren't able to work as a team and really play ball in order to make things happen that were the best for me at that time. This was really the first step out of many to finally earn my Master of Science in Clinical Diabetes last year, if not only to feel more empowered and less hopeless in my own care. And do you know what I really like the most about value-based healthcare? It's really the outcomes focus. I mean, it sounds like, you know, very much buzzword, but it is the outcomes focus on results that really matter to the patient and the care coordination that all actors need to make this happen. Value-based healthcare is not just a buzzword anymore, much thanks to everyone here in this room and Michael Porter and all of these other wonderful pioneers in this area. It's really about a philosophy. It's a paradigm shift that places the patient at the center of care. And this is what we want, right? It's about prioritizing outcomes over outputs, about quality over quantity, about healing the whole person and not just treating the symptoms. I stand here today as a living testament to the power of this approach. Through the dedication and expertise of myself, as well as my healthcare team, I've not only survived, which was unlikely in the mid-'80s, but I've also thrived. Armed with both personal experience, peer support, as well as academic and clinical studies, I've made sure to take a holistic approach to my own care. I've made sure that I'm not just supported medically, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. This is a condition that lives with you 24/7, 365. We don't get a minute off. It's always at the back of our heads. And I've been empowered to take an active role, this active role in my care, to make informed decisions about it, my health, and my well-being. And I've been inspired to pay this forward as well, which is actually kind of cool. Whether it be in the form of patient leadership, advocacy, or using my voice for those who won't or can't. This could be, for example, through involvement as being on the jury of the Open Diabetes Innovation Summit hosted by the Diabetes Center Bern, advocacy as a DDoC voice, committee membership of HIMSS-DACH, or patient empowerment consulting at 5P Healthcare Solutions, along with our patient empowerment program. Again, my story is just one out of many. And you can read more about it in that fantastic book that I have on the table there. It Takes 5 to Tango by Verena Walter. It's chapter 3, I've heard. But across the globe, individuals are benefiting from the principles of value-based healthcare. They're receiving personalized treatment, just really tailored to their unique needs. They're experiencing improved outcomes, reduced costs, and, most importantly, enhanced quality of life. Things are changing, albeit perhaps slowly. For example, for newly diagnosed people with type 1 today, life and care will be, and it will look very different to what is done in my lifetime. Yet, even as we stand here and celebrate these successes, we must acknowledge that our work is far from over. We live in a world where disparities in healthcare, access, and their outcomes persist, where marginalized communities continue to bear the brunt of inequities. For example, I have a friend, a fellow patient advocate, who lives in Zimbabwe. And he regularly talks about access to insulin, which all people with type 1 diabetes heavily rely on to stay alive, as being the biggest hurdle to care. This is just one example of where the promise of value-based healthcare remains out of reach for far too many. So, let us use this moment not just to pat ourselves on the back, but to recommit ourselves to the cause. Let us redouble our efforts to build a healthcare system that is truly equitable, inclusive, and patient-centered. Let us strive to ensure that every individual, regardless of their background or circumstances, has access to the care that they need and that they deserve. While living with type 1 diabetes looks very different today in comparison to the jolly 80s in terms of technology, tools, and medications available even, healthcare as a whole doesn't seem to have followed suit to the same extent. Yet, as I stand here today, I'm filled with hope. Hope for a future where healthcare is not just a privilege, but a fundamental human right. Hope for a future where value-based principles guide every aspect of care delivery. And hope for a future where one day no one will have to suffer needlessly because of a broken system. In an increasingly digitalized world where interoperability is of the essence, we have much more insights into the health of our patients, enabling sustainable, long-term solutions that actually work. In closing, I want to thank each and every one of you for your tireless dedication to this cause. Whether you're a patient, a healthcare provider, a policymaker, a payer, a researcher, one of our esteemed finalists, or simply someone who cares deeply about the care and well-being of others, your contributions are invaluable. Together, we can and we will build a brighter, healthier future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hanna, for this inspiring presentation. Hopeful as well, and there's a lot to do for all of us here present and all